All right, so here's my file. This is the box. It's a candy box I'm going to download. I clicked on here. It's a PNG file. So then what I'm going to do is have my Illustrator file open. This was what we did last time. So I'll go File, New, regular 8.5 by 11. A couple things I noticed. Some of the students, when you were doing it in the just there's some things that you want to look at here. So we can review that a little later on the tabs, whether it's expert mode. There's a couple things here that you're going to want to look at, and we can review all that also in the future. But let's go ahead and do this. So what we want to do then is you can import the files. I find the easiest way to do it is just right from the canvas. I just drag the object onto into Illustrator. And so once that's there, that is the box. You don't need to scale this in any way. We're going to go ahead and make this. So what I want to do is make sure that I have my layers open. So let's find our layers here. And so if you don't see where they are, boy, all my new tabs have shown up. I go to View, Window, Layers, which is also F7. And where are my layers here? Come on, layers. Sorry. Oh, let me just pause this. All right, so there it is. I've got my layers. And then the other thing that I just wanted to show you was if I go to my toolbars, I'm on the advanced. That's where you see this menu here. So, and then I've got my layers over here. So there's my layer. I dropped it in. I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer, and I'll call this artwork, or whatever you want to call it is fine. And then I'm going to lock the original. That way I can't move this, right? I could also turn it off. So there it is. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the artwork. And so before I begin, I should look at this. There's a symmetry here. For the most part, the top half and the bottom half are basically identical, with the exception of this little tab here. And the other thing you should look at is in here, there's this little insert. And what this does is it makes the box so that it'll stay shut. Your task will be to do this in Illustrator, and then you're going to cut this out, and you're going to put a little glue on here on the top, and then you're going to make a box. And then you'll take a photograph of it, and you will turn it in. So you'll submit 2 files to me, which will be the Illustrator as a PDF, and then actually a photograph of this when you print it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's make this box. So I'll go ahead. There's a couple different ways I can do it. Just real quick, if I wanted to, I could essentially take a rectangle tool, and I could do something like this. All right, and so that's fine. I could do that for that portion of it. And if I need to readjust it, I can move it around. And I can make this a little smaller if I need to. But so let's do ahead. That's fine. I can, again, if I want to, I can change the color of this if I need to. Let's try that again. Come on, color, change it. All right. All right, so there's a yellow. Let's go ahead and make the line tool. So I'm gonna take this pen tool. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here, and real delicately, I'm gonna just start at this point right here with my pen tool, and I'm gonna click around this. So you don't have to worry. There is a little radius there. Let's not worry about that. This, this was a box that I found. I literally unwrapped it, scanned it, and there it is. So there's this point. So this one curves though. So what I might do is click this and hold it down, and there will be my curve. Now, if I was really going to do this perfectly, I'd try to make this symmetrical, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this the way it looks here. All right, and then maybe something that might not be a bad idea is to change the opacity on this. That way, as I'm doing it, I can see through it. I don't see my opacity here, but I can always modify this in a moment. All right, so I'm basically just clicking around it. I come here, and then I want to make sure I close it off. All right, and so if you want to double check what I just did, then I could make this a different color. You don't need to make it a different color, maybe something orange. And so then I'll go ahead and do the top one. Let's do the top one here. I'll start over here. And then just make sure that when you do this, that you are closing off this loop here. All right. So again, just to differentiate, I might change the color just for you. You don't have to do that. All right. So there's that. Now let's do this part right here. So I could either do a rectangle. You'll notice there's this little flap in the center. So it's a little bigger. So I might just take this and make it just a hair bigger. There we go. And again, this is just, cut from a candy box. So it's a little off here, but that's okay. Now let's do another rectangle. All right, so another rectangle here. So I'll do another rectangle. All right, my rectangle box here. All right, I'm going to delete this one. I don't know why that's there. I might make this a different color just to show you what I'm doing here. All right, and then I'm almost done. I really only have to do one more, and then I can just mirror and rotate these objects to finish this off. So let's go here. I might zoom in a little bit, or there's got to be that little gap here you're going to notice. So if you notice, there's a little gap. So I'll start right here, come over, come down. There's a little curve there, so I'll just hold it down, and then I'll come down here, come here, and close that off here. All right. And then just for the sake of argument here, I'm going to change the color a bit so you can see what's going on. All right, so let's zoom out of this. And I'm holding the Alt key down on here. So I don't really need to make any new pieces. So what I can do now is I can take this and let's just go ahead and I'll copy, Control C, or edit copy, copy, edit paste. All right, and then I can rotate this. So I'll go here and rotate it. I'll hold the Shift key down, then I'll do it in increments like that, because these really should be the same piece. All right, so there's that. And then I could go ahead, let's just go ahead and copy this right here, this top half. I'll select it. Control C, Control V, and let's rotate this. I think I have to do a little bit here, so maybe I'll take these two, I'll rotate it. I could just start from scratch. All right, so I'll rotate that there. All right, I should probably fix some of these little gaps, but that's okay. And then I'll do the same here. I'll rotate this one on the bottom. Let's see. All right, so there's a couple things I need to fix. Actually, it wasn't edit, redo. Hold on. All right. Oh, sorry, guys. Don't like working backwards again. All right, so there we go. And then there's my here. And this one actually is not rotating, it's reflect. So let's find that real quick. I'll just hold over it, right click, reflect tool. And so I'll reflect this. All right. That's kind of like a mirror operation. And then one more here, I'll reflect this one. Again, I just hover over it and then I right click and that's the reflect tool. And so let's reflect this one. All right. And I'm pretty much done here. So the last thing I want to show you is, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and just pause this real quick. So let's just say that, oh, golly gee whiz, I did it all in the wrong layer. So you can add a new layer. But what you do essentially is, like, let's just say you forgot to lock this initial layer. Let me turn this on here. And so let's say this was, let's see if I can do that. Control copy, and then I'm going to select this layer, Control V. So let's just say that you were working on the wrong layer and you're like, oh no, Smith is going to kill me. He won't know. But when you print it out, it's got this great background. So what you do is, if you look, I made a new layer, or let's put it back, let's put in this layer 3. You right click on it and you say transform let's see here, arrange, set to current layer, and it's going to go to layer 3. All right, I'll turn layer 3. All right, and there it is. So the way that I did that was I selected it, I right clicked, I said arrange, and I select a new layer, right? Whatever layer you want to go to, arrange, and send to current layer. So that's how you move things from layers to layers. Other thing I want to show you is, so you got this box, and obviously you know how to print it. You can save as a PDF or an Illustrator file, but let's just say what I'm asking you to do is put your logo on it, right? And so I know that our logos aren't necessarily due today. You're going to be working on them, but let me show you the two ways and why it's important that you save objects as a PNG. So we'll do two things. I'll take a logo. This is a logo I made, and I'll say save as. And so I have the Illustrator PDF. What we want to do is export it, right? So I'll go File, Export, Export as. Let's do one as a JPEG because everybody loves JPEGs. All right, so we'll say logo, whatever, logo 3. And I'm going to copy this up there. I'll go copy that way. I have this link and I'll export it as a JPEG. All right, that's fine. So good resolution. Let's also go File, Export as a PNG, Export as, and we'll say this one as a PNG. All right. And so I've got, let's just make this logo 3B or whatever we want to say. All right. So the difference is now let's go and you'll notice these checkered in the back, right? And that's what's called an alpha channel. Now, the reason why that's so important is this. So I'm going to go File, let's say I'm going to import or place an object. So let's go place. I'm going to just Control V up there. That'll get me right where I wanted to go. And then let's go to the Bright Eyes logo. So let's go do this as, I should be seeing this as my details so I can tell what's what. Bear with me, everybody. All right, so I want to do maybe by date. So here's my, let's do the JPEG. This is what we don't want to do. So here's my logo. I placed it on here. All right, now we'll see why we don't want to do that when I compare it with the other one. So then I'll go File, and I'll say Place. And this time I'll select the PNG file. So PNG file is right this. Hopefully this is going to work. And let's put it there. All right, so you can see the difference right away. And so what's happened is the PNG has an extra layer. There's usually RGB, and then there's an alpha channel. And alpha is that invisible, where a JPEG has this background. And so we don't want this background because it's white and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Where this, right, I can move anywhere. So that's why you want to do an alpha channel. And this color is so bad here that I think I'm going to just change it because of the contrast is so bad. So let's just make this one green for the sake of argument here. Okay. And now I will drag. So you can see the difference. So when you are creating graphics, if you export it as a PNG file, it creates what's called the alpha channel. And so I want you to get in the habit of that because we're going to be taking your logos and applying it to various products and things like that. And so all I would do now for this assignment is I would save it, obviously, and then I would print it out. And it's going to be very important that when I cut this out, now I should probably spend a little bit more time here, but it's very imperative that you have that tab, and you'll figure it out really quickly when you start making this. And before you print it, what I'd ask you to do is turn off the original background layer. And then I'd probably I don't want this layer, so I'd say arrange. Let's put this in that layer 3 that's turned off, right click, arrange, send to current layer, and there it is. So that is the Smith's box or the candy box. Now I could put this on a laser cutter and print it out, or I could go ahead and cut it out by hand, which is what we're going to do here. So if I was going to, there's a lot of different exports you can do in terms of AutoCAD files, DWG files. If you're going to go to laser cutter, if you're going to go just print it out to a regular print, I'd probably just save this as a PDF file. So I'd say save as, all right, Control S, and save as. Okay, so that is the lesson here. And I'll take questions. Save as. So I typically either you save it as an Illustrator or Adobe PDF. The advantage with the Illustrator is it's kind of native to Illustrator, where the PDF is not, but the PDF is kind of nice because you can open it up on any computer, right? And you just want to make sure if you do it that you preserve the Illustrator editing capabilities. Otherwise, it won't work for you. All right, so, and then here is the PDF of the box. And so this is what you would send to your printer. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.